Hey, what's up? I guess I'll try to wait. This is the Culture Club. You have entered into another conversation from the Culture Club. We are live again. We are going to be on a roll with these lives versus the recordings, but we will do recordings as well. So come on in, have a seat, and get ready for today's conversation. This is your girl, Marilyn Monroe, and I have my beautiful co pilot.
Miss Green
It's,
Eyes Net is what you guys know me as. Thanks for joining us.
yes, yes. And then, as you can see, we have a third co pilot today, which she is near and dear to me because we are family in real life, not the fake cousin family,
We
but
not,
in real
we
life.
make up cousins for real. We do.
We do. But in real life, she is my cousin, and she is willing to share for the month of October. Of course, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Every day should be an awareness. However, it's acknowledged for October. So we are going to bring you some good information and good stories for all of our conversations. But October is awareness, and we have my cousin, Diamond G,
Thank you.
and she is going to share her story of her discovering breast cancer at the age of 12. 12. Can you imagine? So she's now a grown woman, but she's willing to share her testimony and her story so that we could spread awareness and just know that it definitely does not start at the age that your OBGYN or your doctor recommend you to get checked up. Like typically that's in like the 30s, but 12 years old. So we're going to just give it a pause and wait to see if we get some people um, in the house.
That was a
Yeah,
show. That used to be the best show ever.
in the house.
Shout out to LL. Y'all
I'm
remember that
done.
show?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, get okay. Take a sip. Yes, take a sip.
You and your juice box, I swear.
Yes.
We're gonna get her a juice
Why
box
not?
t-shirt.
No. Yeah, for sure. So okay. So now we can get started. So Diamond, please tell and share with everyone the culture, your story of breast cancer.
Okay, so I was 12 one day coming from basketball practice. Did not want to play. My dad wanted me to play basketball really badly. And I'm taking a shower. I have this like white training bra on, and I see like something in it, and it's brown. And I'm like, coming from my right side. I'm like, what is this? What is this? So I take a shower, don't panic. I go to my dad and show him. He's like, I don't know what that is. Go talk to your mom. Like, wait till you get to your mom's house.
Yeah.
Which is understanding for a male. And also, backstory with him, his mother had breast cancer when he was in high school. And she had severe breast cancer where she had to get her left breast removed. And it came back aggressively and caused her death to have heart disease and everything else from the chemo and radiation. So
Mm.
I sympathize with him as well as a kid, knowing that this is tough for him, but also too, I needed him. So it was definitely like, do I be the kid? Do I be the adult in the situation?
Yeah.
But going after that, I told my mom immediately when I got back home with her, and she was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was just like, I would just press on it, and stuff would come out. Like my nipple would just come out, and I'm like, "This is not normal." She said the same thing, so she scheduled me a doctor's office, me appointment at my pediatric doctor as soon as possible. We went like the week afterwards, and you could feel the lump in my chest. Like I'm just 12, so there's nothing really there, but you could feel like something engulfed, like in there.
Mm.
And they were like, "Oh, it's probably just nothing. It's probably just a mass." Like they were like brushing me off. My mom went off in that doctor's office. My mom advocated for me, like, like she was mama bear, and I'm so blessed to have her in my life because I don't know what I would have done or where I would be right now if she did not advocate for me in that moment where I needed her the most. Um, so they were like, "Oh, we can refer you to the breast cancer specialist, whatever." And they were like, "You won't get an appointment till November." This was September. So I'm going through like my chest is inflamed in the middle of it. Like I can't sit up. I can't really do anything like move my arm up or anything certain days. Chest red and engulfed. Like my mom's trying to figure out what's the best way to soothe my pain. So I'm going through so much pain because once we go to the breast care specialist, they do a sonogram. And I'm in school. So my mom takes me out of school to go to this appointment and come to find out I have to do a biopsy. And I'm not put down. I'm up looking at the lady put a needle the size of a freaking tranquilizer, like thick needle, into my chest to see and grab a piece of what mass or whatever it was to test it, see if it's benign or not. Mind you, this they didn't give us the results right then and there or like in 24 hours. We had to wait a whole week. So this whole week, my mom's going through it like I'm going through it. Like I'm nervous. Like I don't know what this could be. And it was just really me and her during the whole process. Um, but after that biopsy appointment, I went back to school. So like it's like me also not taking the time to understand what was going on with me because I didn't have people to really answer questions because no one saw this in a 12-year-old. So
Yeah.
that even the doctor was like, I don't know. I've never seen this, but we need to get this out because this is not normal. And they were like, we will schedule you in November. But that was just a pre-op scheduling. Come to find out, uh, the scheduled actual surgery didn't come until 2 days before my 13th birthday. So when the test results came back a week afterwards, my mom's praying. She giving everybody to pray for me. Just going through a lot, even being in school, because I at that point I was in the seventh grade. So like just a lot of transitioning or like insecurities about like them having to go there, go in my chest, and knowing that they have to like cut me open in a sense to get it out. And also it's just like I didn't ask for this, but no one asked us for it. But it's just like those are the thoughts going through my head. Um, and then we get the results back. It comes back benign. And when I say like my mom cried so hard, and it's just like she had to be strong for me, but she's also going through it because it's never happened to her. So it's like I didn't show that much emotion throughout the whole situation because I felt the emotion that my mom was already like the burden of my mom going through. So I was like, the best thing I can do is not cry. The best thing I can do is just be strong. And I didn't have that much support from my dad. It was just in a sense it was too hard for him. So I do sympathize with him a little bit as an adult now. But as a kid, I sympathize with him a lot. Um, and once those results came back, they scheduled me for my surgery 2 days before my 13th birthday. So I'm like, I'm gonna be out. Like I'm not gonna go to school, go to my birthday. I can't like do that. Like I'm gonna be home. Um, and then it was just like a lot. My mom was like, if you go through with the surgery smooth and clear, you can get your ears pierced. So I was like, okay. So I went. The day of surgery was January 22nd of 2014. Um, my dad rolled in late. I thought he wasn't going to see me before I went into the room. Before he came, I bursted into tears, and I ran to the bathroom because I did not want them to see me crying. Um, 'Cause I didn't think he was going to make it. He didn't make it to any other appointments, and it was just like, I don't want you to see me like this. Granted, I don't want to be like this, but I really don't want you to see me like this. And because I know he's seen his mother like this multiple times, so like I did not want to re-traumatize him, whatever. But the surgery went smooth. They got the mass out. It was a tumor connected with a cyst, and it was like black, just like black and brown, filled with like fluid. And I was like, they were like, yeah, it's just not normal. Like, we don't see these in 12-year-olds. And it was on my nodes. So, like,
Mhm.
it was it's putting so much pressure on them. That's why they were like reacting for me to like leak blood out of my nipple. And it was just like, this is what you see in signs of like a 30-year-old. Like, this is
Mhm.
like something you don't see. And as more as I get older, I'm starting to realize like this is hereditary in my family. Like the amount of masses that they have in their breasts is really strong on my dad's side. My grandmother had it. My great aunt has it. She goes through
Mhm.
radiation through pills. So it's like it's and then Aunt Louise had it. My Aunt Louise had it as well. We share an aunt and she had breast
Yeah.
cancer as well. So it's like on both sides. And I'm like, yikes, this is a lot. So all to say it was an experience that I don't take for granted because it made my trust in God stronger. And it also helped me as an individual to realize like, don't take life for granted. You could be looking just fine, but you do not know what's going on in like inside of you and go get checked out. I think that's the biggest thing. Like go to the doctors to figure out what's wrong with you because you can't say like, oh, it's nothing. You can't brush it off or
Yeah.
listen to your children. Listen to your children when they say something's going wrong because it could be something that could change their whole life as an adult that they have to deal with that could have been fixed as a child.
Yeah.
So I am
Yeah.
grateful for my mom advocating for me, staying by my side, and also like making sure that ultimately I was okay. Now, looking back at it from being 10 years away, I still think that it's a 75% chance it can come back. And they tell you that off the rip. And it's kind of like it's the back of my mind, even when it comes to like getting in relationships, having kids, like that's like it definitely messes up with how I think about myself sometimes, but also more so like, am I going to be here for long? Like to experience it, is it going to come back more aggressive? Is it going to be something that I can't like manage? So that's also like does like mess with me a little bit. And plus getting the proper care. Like I was with my primary care doctor and I was telling her I was having pain in my chest again. Brushed it off. And I said, you know what?
Mm.
I'm gonna go. And she was like, I think she was Middle Eastern. I don't know exactly the race, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to another doctor who actually cares. And I went to a black
Mhm.
doctor in Prince George's County. And when I say like she's been very thorough with me with everything, saying like maybe it's your birth control like hurting the side effects of like causing side effects because of the hormones and everything. But she's been very thorough, very clean, very cut, like trying to go different routes to see I don't have to go like a high hormonal route. It's been helping. So I'm really grateful. And I figure out what's wrong with me and how can I fix it when I'm not just getting brushed off like, oh, next.
Yeah,
So
like another patient, like just another
yeah,
patient. And
yeah.
I'm glad that you and your mom, my cousin, um, uh, I guess the Cisco, shout out the Cisco family.
Yes.
The Cisco in her and you just pushed through and
Yeah.
made certain that, even like it's important for us because a lot of us as in African American or American African women, I should say,
Hmm.
it's American we're
Hmm.
American African women. A lot of times we in medical period we're not taken as serious as other races. Um, and the signs could be totally written on the wall, and often we are just kind of pushed given pushback. So it's
Hmm.
really important to definitely find a healthcare provider that will look out for the best interest of you and take every complaint, every issue, every conversation seriously enough to dig deep and to say let's get to the bottom of it. So that's great. um, so, fun fact, not even really a fun fact, but one of eight women have a chance of invasive breast cancer during a lifetime. One of eight. And listening to your story, 12 years old, Lynette, Green Eyes, you
I'm
have
quiet for
daughters.
2 seconds because I had a lump in my throat while you were talking, and like I explained to you before, Marilyn Monroe got on. I know your family. I grew up with her, your mom, and your aunt, and you. It's like really touching because I had no idea until I talked to Marilyn Monroe, and she told me, and I was like, wow, to hold something like that in and have to deal with it pretty much by herself just to advocate for you. And like she said, I'm the mom of 5 girls, so I can't imagine. My question for you was, at 12 years old, did it affect your friendships with your friends? Did they know? Did you
I
go ahead?
I kept it very like close and dear. So like
Hmm.
a couple of my friends knew, but not to like the vast majority of like the whole school knew. But like I'll say
Right.
like 3 or 4 people knew what was going on, and then a close friend knew because her mom was going through breast cancer, and then
Hmm.
like me and her mom like got cool, and then but sadly, tragically, we lost her mom the next year due to breast cancer.
Okay.
So it was like I try to keep it to myself. I feel like I didn't like that my mom posted it on Facebook because I didn't want people to know. I knew she was spreading awareness, but also too like I didn't feel like I was asked if I wanted this to be shared either. Like there's
Right.
no shun to my mom. She advocated for me. She did everything she needed to do. But also I think it's very private. But I get like also too she wants to set the awareness of like listen to your children. Something's going wrong.
Yes.
I
Mhm.
want to apologize for your mom because we just do that because
Yeah.
we like to be like, you're really a testimony, and she advocated for you, and
Mhm.
God is real. Like, it's through you, it's through
Mhm.
all of us, but we're watching it through you right now, and
Mhm.
it's amazing. Like, I'm just sitting here, and I'm really speechless because it hits home. It's so real. So you said that you noticed it with the discharge from your breast. Did you feel anything? Did you have pain before that, and you just like kind of brushed it off because you were playing sports? Like, sometimes you think, oh, I got bumped.
No, I never had any type of pain. Nothing weird transpired. But that was the first sign, which was weird
Okay.
to me. I'm like, you think you would feel some type of pain, like awkward feeling. It was nothing awkward, nothing painful until afterwards I found out about it. And then like I would like touch it. Like I would just like randomly like put pressure on it to see if it was still coming. Cause this is like brown discharge. Like it's old
Mm-hmm.
blood. Something like this is I was like, where is it bleeding at? Like, is it bleeding in like inside or like right outside of it? Like, it's just a lot of questions. And I think me messing with it even more caused my pain even
Okay.
more because my chest was inflamed like multiple times. I couldn't sit up. Like, it was one morning my mom came and I couldn't even sit up for bed, like to get up for bed. It was really bad, and my chest was like bloodshot red.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was it felt like I had like sleep paralysis or something. But I was like up and I was like couldn't move.
So you said
Yeah.
that you hid your emotions a lot from your parents. I bet
Yeah.
they did the same to you. I bet
I
they hid their emotions.
feel like my mom tried, but she couldn't because she were in the same room.
Okay.
So like I could sense like a child knows when their mom, like their parent is like worried.
Yes.
Like you can like look over, I'm like, okay. Like I know when she's holding back tears or like she's crying and trying to hide it. Like I can see that with my mom. With my dad, he really didn't say much. And
Yeah.
I get why, because he didn't know what to say. And it's still like that. He still doesn't know what to say to me sometimes. But it's like he doesn't know. He didn't want to come off as like he wanted to just know why. His question was why. I say that like it's just like why is this happening? And it's just like no one had an answer for him. And it was more so like it's hereditary. Like this can happen, stuff like that. And it's more so I didn't get really deep into it with my dad because I didn't feel like not say the safe space, but like once again, he did brush me off to my mom and say, "Go tell your mom about it."
Yeah.
Like,
That's such a man answer though.
and
I'm
it's
gonna
a
tell
man, and
you.
I give him it's a man answer, but also too, it's just like, take me to the hospital. Like, this is
Right,
abnormal.
Right.
right, right.
Right.
And
Right.
call
Like,
mom and tell her to come on.
yeah, like meet
Right.
us there. And
Right.
it's I give him grace because I am his first. So it's just
Right.
not like, but also it's like, I needed you. So it's like, how can I convey something when I shouldn't have conveyed it because you were there for your mom? You
Hmm.
shall be there for
Yes.
your child.
Do
Yes.
you
So
think that
Especially.
he blamed himself like, oh, this is my fault because
I
of his
feel,
mom?
so the day I came home from surgery, it was an in and out procedure. So after I came home, I mean, before we left the hospital, he was supposed to meet us back at my mom's house. He did not end up coming at all.
Mm.
And I feel like that's where he dropped the ball on his end. But he literally told my mom that he couldn't take it. Like, he couldn't see me like that. Like, he couldn't see the bandage. He
Mm.
couldn't see. And I was like, I do understand that. But like, at this moment, sacrifice that. Forget
Yeah.
what you're going through because I'm going through it right now.
Right.
Like, sometimes you have to put your stuff to the side and tend to what's needed to
Definitely.
be tend to. And my mom did that. Like, my mom was going through it. She's just like racking her head, like, how could this happen to my child? But
Yeah.
she's taking herself away from it to make sure I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, making me happy, making me laugh, like spending time with each other, like wanting to, like, oh, let's go watch a movie. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna go to sleep in my room. Like, she's trying to keep my spirits up. Where
Mm.
he was so focused on what was happening, what happened to me, than not what I needed.
Right.
Do you think he was traumatized already? Because sometimes
I
when you're
think,
traumatized, you shut down.
yeah. I think that's what it was. We always talk about, like, he didn't feel like he could vocalize how he felt as a man coming from this point of view as being a father. Um, because with his mother, he lost his mother we lost her very young. Like, I was 8. I was 7 when we lost her. So that,
Okay.
she was in her 40s. She was in her 40s when we lost her.
Wow.
So, well, no, no, she was
Mm.
in her 50s, early 50s. Sorry, she was in early 50s when we lost her, and that threw my dad for a loop. Like, my dad took a year to recover from that, and it was
Yeah.
like traumatizing because it's just like, we lost her. And it was like, she didn't tell anybody her cancer came back. She kept it, like, that older generation just kept it to themselves because they didn't want to burden anyone. Granted, she
Yeah.
did tell us the first time. They tell him the first time, but that was even traumatic because my dad was in high school. My dad was just a kid too. So like, I felt like it was replaying in his head, like, this
I
could
think
be
immediately when he heard it, he heard he lost you, is
like,
what I think
Yep.
as a
yeah.
parent.
Yep.
Like, as soon as he heard those words out of his mouth, he was like, that's it. I lost her.
Now I can say my dad is very adamant about my health. So like, I could tell him something's going wrong, and he's like, "Oh, what did the doctor say?" Like, he's very. I can say, like, that's the growth in him of being like in the loop with that area of my life. Like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Like, are you gonna go to the doctors? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
so
think
he's.
the time,
It was just
the
too
time from,
close.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And honestly,
And you
like,
were a kid.
Yeah, and
You
it's
were
just
a
yeah.
like, how do
kid,
you
and he
miss
was a
the
kid
kid?
when he
Like, I think,
lost his mom.
yeah, I think the
And
biggest thing is,
you were the only child, right, at that time for him.
yeah,
So
Hmm.
yeah,
yeah,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
that
He was helping my
trauma shut them
brother, but
down.
it's, yeah, it was a lot for him to take in, and it was just like, I lost my mom 5 years ago. Now 5 years from now, it's like, and it was the same time period. We lost my
Hmm.
grandmother December 17th. We didn't get those results back probably like till that time, December. So
Okay.
this is like trauma on trauma
Yes.
on trauma
Hmm.
Yes.
building.
Yes. It's like a
And
replay.
yeah, and
It's
then
a
we
and
had,
replay.
and men are built different. They are
yeah.
built so different. They don't even like to go to the doctors themselves.
But I can
So
say one
like,
thing: he is real adamant about going to the doctors. So,
Good.
but
good.
I love that because he takes care. He's trying to take care of himself even better now because of, like, I tell him, like, I only have one of you, and that is so important. And And I tell him, you only have one of me. So like
Yes.
the question, that conversation goes both ways, because people love saying, "Oh, cherish your parents while they're here. Cherish your children as well. Cherish your people." Let's
Yes.
start saying that, because that's the most important thing, to be available in each other's lives when they need them. Because we take
Mm,
for granted the child, but we always focus on the parent. And I'm like, these
yes.
things happen to kids every day.
Right. There's no order.
There's
Right.
no order.
Mhm.
Like,
That's right. Right.
it's tragic either way you put it. So I say
Yeah.
Yeah.
we should talk about what's going on, our health, everything, so we know what's going on, and vocalize that and not be ashamed of that.
Do
But
Yes.
you guys
it's
have conversations like that now? Like because you're older, like you and your parents, more like health conversations. Like,
uh my dad, yeah, I'll tell him things about like his health, because what's hereditary in our family. I'm like, okay, we need to lose a couple pounds, we need to do this, we need to do that. Just because like I've seen like extreme obesity, and I've seen how that affects the household. I've seen how that affects
The
relationships
health.
and
Yeah.
in the health. Like, it's really
Yeah.
bad. And then it's from this spectrum of going to the doctors. I've seen people who don't go to the doctors, who resist going to the doctors. But I can say my parents are very adamant of like, go to the hospital, something's wrong with you, just
Yes.
because you never know. And
mhm,
that's very true.
Yes.
Mhm.
mhm,
And another fact, breast cancer is just not a woman
It's
issue.
not. It's not.
It's not. Men, I had four sons. And, even though I said green eyes, you have daughters, but
right.
men
Because
coming
of the
back, it could,
situation that's happening right now. Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But definitely, it's definitely not biased to any gender. So it's important to take minutes to
Yes.
examining yourself,
Mhm.
because you can go to the doctors and arrange a mammogram, and when your annual or your
Mhm.
but it's important to like take notice of certain body part, like all body parts, really, just
Right.
Mhm.
to identify what doesn't feel right, look right. Like you said, leaking, anything leaking. It's just so important, and it's just important.
And
Yeah.
let's take the time to say it's not just hereditary, so anybody can get it. It doesn't
Yeah.
just pick and
Absolutely.
choose
It's very
who it
true.
wants to get. So
That's
it's hereditary. Are you probably more prone to get it? Yes. But
Mhm.
just because you're not a family member doesn't have it doesn't mean that it won't come somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from like the whole experience is like communication, and like not being like afraid to talk about it, like not being ashamed, and creating those safe spaces for the people around you can talk about it, because it takes one time where a person doesn't feel comfortable talking about it, and they won't talk about anything, they won't say anything. Granted,
yeah.
like I could say, me telling my dad how I feel is good, was telling him what happened was happening to me, close that with me and him a little bit, because I'm like, I
Mm,
told you what happened, you didn't really act upon it. And I was just like, I kind of expected you to act upon it just a little bit,
yeah.
but you didn't. You left it off to my mom to figure out. It was
Can
it
you speak to the dads real quick and tell the girl dads, the dads out there, how important it is, even if it makes them feel uncomfortable?
it's very important to learn about women's health, and what they could be going through, because it's not just like, oh, they're crazy, you don't know what time of the month it is. Like, women go through cycles of change, and they only have like 3 weeks out of the month. Only one normal week they have, where everything's balanced, everything's normal. Like, there's so many different things that women go through on a daily basis, just based off their hormones, and you don't know what's also been passed down to them, hereditary. Like, that affects a lot. And just listen. I understand it might not be comfortable for you, but the most important thing is like, listen. Don't try to solve the problem, just listen, and then give some options that can pros, and ask them if they want help with that problem, said problem.
Yeah.
But it's easier said than done, because you have to put your pride aside as a man, to realize like, you're going to want to fix it. Some things
Yeah.
you just can't fix. You have to learn how to deal with them. And
Yes.
that's a hard pill to swallow. Like
That's
you
a
can't
big
be
one.
superhuman. You can't be Superman right now.
Right.
All you can do is help lessen the symptoms of that. You
That's a
stressing
big
a woman
one.
out, it's not going to be any better. All you can do is listen and help and
Yes.
not
Yeah.
create as much stress. So
Yes, men
that's
do
the
tend
biggest
to
thing.
think they can fix everything. This is not a flat tire.
No,
This is not,
you
I
can't
need
just
you to
throw
fix.
money at it and oh, it's fixed. You can't
Right.
do
Yeah.
that. Like it's just like
Right.
it's happening
Yeah.
and it's not going to stop happening. So
Yeah.
get with the program, especially people men who do have daughters and want to create that special bond with them. It's very
Yeah.
important and it helps their self esteem, in my opinion. Like
Hmm.
it helps
Yeah.
them feel better about themselves. Like, okay, I can talk to a man about this, and this man is
Yes.
my
Yes.
father who cares about me dearly. Like this is like you'll get like 10 cool points, dad cool points. Because
Yes.
now I'm to the age where I'm just opening up to my dad, which I wish I had that as like a teenager. Like it was just
Yeah.
like, don't talk about it, or like he'll be like when my period would come on, my cycle would come on, he'd just be weird. He'd be like, "Don't lift
Right.
that." The only like like seem of like compassion I would get from my dad is like, "Don't lift that. Don't lift that. It's too heavy."
Right.
But that's something he experienced my mom. So like a little mom like info. My mom had a miscarriage for me, and my
Okay.
mom lifted something. So that's what he thinks immediately when like I was on my
Traumatized.
cycle. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just a man learning from trauma, so he's not like experience not say experience, but he's not like well in knowledge about certain things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's so important that parents like and I'm a parent, but I think it's
Hmm.
so important that parents provide their children with history, family history, medical history.
Yes.
Um, really important. And for parents and men, women, to know family medical history.
Hmm.
I call that the true cheat codes of life.
Hmm.
The true cheat codes of life is to be able to provide basic foundation of history, of medical history.
Hmm.
Not to say that every medical um, issue would occur with your child, but it helps them to be able to pass it on to their children and to
Hmm.
pass it on to their children so that everyone has a clue. Um, has a clue. And like I said, that it's important
It's
to
so
know.
important.
Yeah, it's important to know.
Hmm.
It's important to stay in the know, and it's important to definitely make up doctor's appointments regularly, and to, like Diamond, take action. Take
Yeah.
action. Don't sit on an illness or a pain or anything for weeks and months and years because
Yeah.
you think it'll go away, or because you're too busy, or because work needs you. We are all probably guilty of, life happening so fast that you meant to do something today, you didn't do it, and it is a whole 2 years that go by, and you just ignore the problem when early detection is so important.
It's so important. Like and to get ahead of it so it doesn't grow into different stages is so important because cancer is this cells going rogue. That's the best way I can explain it to you. Like it's cells
Yeah.
going rogue, nowhere to go, nothing to do, and it's telling other cells as time progresses to do the same thing that they're doing.
Yep.
And I don't think people realize like how it can spread, how malignant it can be. Um, but it's better to get ahead of it. If you have an awkward mass, please tell somebody about it because it could just be a cyst, which I've had. Like I've had cysts before. I had one on my wrist right here. Like it just, and that's hereditary. That comes from family. Like it,
Yep.
you wouldn't know that if you don't have this conversation with your elders, your great aunts, your grandparents. Like it's very
Yeah.
important. And at that time, I wish I could have a conversation with my grandmother because I'm like I'm going through it, but I
Yeah.
don't have her. So it's just like, yeah, I was only 8, I mean 7 when she passed, so I wouldn't be asking her anything. But I vividly
Right.
remember her only having one breast. I vividly remember her like being in the hospital, like breathing every 15 seconds because
Mhm.
it spread so vastly. It made her heart beat every 15 seconds and gave her heart disease. So it's very important. And also too like the way they cut me on the top. They couldn't hide it. They couldn't, like, usually they'll love to like cut you on the side or the bottom.
Discreet, yeah.
Yeah, discreet. I don't have a discreet cut. I have a cut right on the top because that's the only way they could get to it without interfering with my nose at the bottom.
Okay.
So it's I was 12, so barely nothing was there. So it's very important to just like get ahead of it and see what routes you can take. But I'm really grateful for my mom. And also grateful for 12-year-old me stepping up and saying something's wrong with me because that took a lot.
That does take a lot
Thank you.
because
It
as
does.
Marilyn said, that does take a lot because the 12-year-old you, like I said, you were playing a sport. You could
Mhm,
have easily
Hmm.
just said, "Oh, I must have got hit. Oh,
mhm,
that's just
Yeah.
something leaking. It'll be gone tomorrow." And then
mhm,
you could have
Hmm.
still seen it tomorrow and said, "Oh, that's probably gonna go away tomorrow," because that's
mhm,
what we do. We just go
mhm,
tomorrow,
Yeah.
tomorrow, and tomorrow turns into 2 years, like she said. And if you did
mhm.
not catch that, then your dad would have been living the vision he was already seeing when you told him anyway.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then like my mom is like a mom's like she's raised us like if something's wrong, tell me. Tell me right now. Like don't wait to tell me. Tell me right now. And that her instilling that with us because it comes with like relations, dealing with people, dealing like anything like you have a cut or bruise, tell me. Like I want to know where it is so I can have an explanation for it or like we can see where or I can help you with that. But if something's going wrong, tell me about it then because I can help you then. She said, I can help you now when it happens. But when it
Yeah.
festers and stuff like that, I don't know when I can help you or how I can help you.
Right. I
So
could
that's very
So
important.
we
I
talk.
could hear your mom saying like
Again,
you
like,
saying it, I could hear her. I
yes,
could hear.
verbatim. Like
So
in
we
her
talked
eyes,
about how you
Uh-huh.
felt with your dad not being supportive. So let's shout out your mom because I know your mom and I know
yeah.
Marilyn Monroe knows your mom.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
how and how amazing was it to have that support at 12 years old? How important was that?
I don't know where I would be without my mom. And I tell her that all the time because it's just like she's definitely my rock. Like
Yeah.
she'll bat for me in any room. Like she promotes me in any room that I'm in, that she's in. She'll say my name. I'm like, Mom, you don't have to. Like, you don't have to. She's like, no. She's like the best. I call her my momager. She's
Hmm.
literally the best momager because she's handled business and she's very personable and lovable. Um, she is very
And
strict though. My
firm.
mom
And firm.
firm. My
Yes.
mom
Yes,
don't play
there
Yes.
go
around.
the firm and the strict came out at the same time.
Yeah,
Yes.
don't play around, and I thank her for that because it's still to me what it's to be a young lady in this world. Um, and she instills me just to have like grace and be like strong in who I am. Like
Yeah.
it was never like a feeling where I felt bad about myself from her. It was always like,
Good.
we're gonna get this. You are awesome. Like her favorite word's awesome. If you talk to her mom, her favorite word is
She.
awesome.
Yes, it is. It
She
is.
says
It
she was like,
is.
"You're awesome. You came from me. I'm already awesome, so you're awesome too." So like, it's
Hmm.
my
Yes.
It
connection.
is her favorite word. Yep, it is.
It's her favorite word.
I spoke with her last night, and like hey, what are you doing? I'm awesome, and I'm like, you're just a mess. You're
And
just
I
so funny.
and now that I'm older and she's living her life and not raising kids anymore, I see a different light in her. I see her as an individual, and I feel like we grew up together. We always say that, like we grew
Yeah,
up together,
yeah,
and seeing her like that, like just living her truth, doing what she wants to do in life, and not worried about taking care of someone 25/8 is a blessing to see. Because I'm like, hey, I'm not having no kids anytime soon, so I'm living my life. But seeing her actually live what she sacrificed so much is a
absolutely.
blessing to see.
Yeah,
To
well
sow into
deserved.
herself, to sow into herself. I'm like, I was telling her, I said, you need to do stuff for you. Like,
Hmm.
granted, I don't ask you for
But
Yeah,
much,
But
but
she
you need
did
to
it
just,
for herself when it was time because she
yeah,
had to be there
yeah,
for you. And she wasn't, as a mom, we are never going to say, oh my gosh, this is too much.
mhm,
It could be so overwhelming, but you would
yeah,
never know that from a mom. Like,
yeah. She's
yeah,
definitely inspiring. Like, she went through a lot of stuff. So it's just like knowing what she went up against and what she handled and what she conquered. The list is forever long.
Yeah. We're gonna have to have a conversation with her one day on the Culture Club
Yes, I
one
think she
day,
would love
because
that.
she
Yeah,
should.
cause she would think it's awesome.
Yeah, she would think it's very.
Oh gosh. Oh
That's
gosh.
literally her
You know
thing.
what? That's the show is
I
gonna
need
be
you guys
called
to like
Awesome.
tally mark when you guys do bring her on. Tally mark how many times she says awesome, and
I
listen,
will.
We could do that. We could do
please,
that.
because that's her favorite word. But I can say my dad knew he dropped the ball then, but now I feel like he's trying to make up for it now.
That's
Um,
good.
and our relationship's getting better. I feel like I had to say a lot of things. He said to say a lot of things. Um, and I think that has made our relationship a little bit better, that we got past that barrier.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of men don't ever want to say they're wrong.
Yeah.
They don't.
Never.
And or they'll like equate to like it happened only one time. That only happened one time.
They don't count.
That
And
don't
it's the
like
50-11th time, but it's one
right,
time.
right, right. And I think that's the biggest thing. And it's just like it didn't. Like it didn't. But
Right.
once I got over that, like I'm gonna accept you for who you are because you're not gonna change that much. You're not gonna change that much. You're kind of
Right.
stuck in your ways.
Right.
And once he started accepting me for me and stopped getting this ideology of what he thought I was and this trophy aspect of he had of me,
Yeah.
everything changed for the better. I felt like I'm not a trophy. I'm a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right. I'm a human. I'm
yeah,
human. I'm
I
imperfect.
I make mistakes. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's making our relationship a little better. We do have our rocks where I'm good with one parent, bad with the other. You know, that goes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
other than that, it's better than what it used to be. And I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to our viewer, and actually, Diamond, it's your aunt Nisi. That's
Yes.
good. And she actually years ago she had a cyst on her wrist
Hmm.
as well.
I had one like so big. It was the size of a golf ball. And
Golf ball,
then
hers was too.
yeah, and then I popped it one. I popped one. It erupted.
Ah,
The most extreme pain. I was playing volleyball, and it literally just the fluid just rushed out, and then it came back. That same year I had that surgery. It came back that same year I had that
wow.
surgery, and I had to get it drained, and
Yeah.
that was painful. That was so painful. But it's just a ball of fluid and blood. Like that's what they consist of.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
sockets of that, but
Yeah.
they're not fun. And but they haven't came back since they drained it. So I think they did a good
Good.
job.
So with every woman, every man, at some point during shower time or
Yeah.
whatever time, and actually, if you're a couple, if you have a significant other, you can get them involved in giving self exams to each
Hmm.
other.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So the technique is simple, and it just requires your hands being up and you
Hmm.
just lifting and feeling and like looking for
Hmm.
bruising, feeling if it's anything leaking. But the two main said uh, things to do is
Hmm.
look and feel, and you just kind of feel from your armpit all the way around under, and it takes less than 5 minutes for both. And again,
Hmm.
if you have a significant other, you want to make it fun, you want to help preserve your relationship and each other, you can do each other. It's just it's important. This
Yes.
month of October is just an awareness month, but like I said, every day should be an awareness for you, your children, and anyone that you love. It's just that important. Um, I love your background, Green Eyes.
I did
I
this
love
for
I
it.
did too.
Diamond.
Thank you.
I
That's so
love it.
special.
I love
Thank
it.
you so
Yes.
much. I really do
Um,
appreciate you guys though too. I would
Oh,
like to say
no,
that.
wait a
Thank
minute,
you.
young lady. You don't get to appreciate us because we got to appreciate you first. This is
yes.
about
It's your
you. And
10 year, right? It's
it's
10
Yeah,
a
it's my
years.
10 year. Yeah.
So
It's
this
just
is very important. And tell everyone how old you are.
I'm 23 years old right now. So yeah, it's been 10 years. It's been like
Yeah.
crazy. So I
So
always
tell
remember
us.
because it's 2 days before my birthday.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
tell us where everyone the culture can find you on social media, and tell us that some of the things, the great, wonderful, amazing things that you do.
Okay, so you guys can follow me on Instagram. It's DYM period GRAY Dime Gray. And same thing on Facebook, I believe. Um, I'm a photographer. My business page is Dime Archives on Instagram, so DYM Archives. And you can follow me on there or and contact me on Facebook or there. Those are the main platforms I'm on. I'm a photographer. I do studio photography and events and parties. And I do content and creative design with that.
we gonna be hollering at you.
Please do,
Yes.
please do,
And,
please
and,
do.
and it was also hereditary because
Oh,
your
yeah.
mom,
My mom worked at Sears Portrait Studios when I was a baby. So I have like
she
10,000
did.
baby
Uh-huh.
photos. Like,
She did all of my children's photos.
I think out of all the grandkids, I have like the most baby photos because I was just a model.
You
I was
did.
used as a model
You
the whole
did.
time.
You
It
did.
was the
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah, I was the
You did.
practice. Rest in peace,
Yes.
Sears Portrait Studios. They
Yeah.
were the one.
they
Yes.
they were the
Yep.
ghosts for us.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, my mom
Yes.
always said
I
that. She's
remember
like,
that.
I instilled that in you. And I'm like,
She did.
but then
It
she
She
bought me my
did.
first
is.
camera. She bought me my first camera. Sophomore year
Yep.
of high school, she bought me my first camera. She's like, think about how much money you made with that. I said, too much to count. I wish I had it right now. Yeah,
You could be
she's
selling them baby pictures because you had like the best baby pictures.
I
You could
know
be like selling the.
she really did. They should be like in frames because how good they are. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
my dad's
Yeah.
favorite one is like I'm dressed up as an angel. I have angel wings on and I
Okay.
have this like little
I
headband.
didn't see that one.
I'll send it to you, Deke.
Okay.
It is the one. He's like, this is my favorite picture of you. And then like Easter, the
Oh,
bunnies around me, like my mom went
Oh,
all
she
out.
did it. She did
she
it every
did.
holiday.
Every
Every day.
holiday, every
Every
day.
Every
day.
day. I
She
can't
would
You
do
get
need to
that.
be
I
she would
can't.
get
outfitted.
my dad to drop me off to take pictures of me. And I
Just
had no
like
This
that.
hair.
is
I'm just a
Like
bald
that.
head little baby, no hair.
you had some hair. You had some
I,
hair.
I had peach fuzz. I didn't have no hair. Real hair till I was two. But when I say the albums are definitely, they need to bring back albums because that made me question a lot of things. Like, who are these people? Like, how am I related to these people? Like, I just
I agree.
met my mom side of the family last past weekend that I never knew. So
The
that
Jones
was
side.
the Jones side. I just met them for the first time. So
Okay.
that was like, whoa, okay. So I have whole another side of family, but also it's like a whole other side of family where I can further my education on my health
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
that's
Yes.
a
Mhm.
linear right there. My
Mhm.
grandmother
Yes.
and her siblings,
Yes.
and then her aunts and uncles.
That is
Yep.
so important. That's the
Yeah.
best.
Very.
That's one of the best things you could do for your children is
My
to provide
mom's
them with that.
not throwing my mom's age out there, but my mom's 43. She just met them people.
Yeah,
Like she just met them.
not them people, but okay.
Yeah, them people. She just
Shout out to also the lovely Tymisha,
yes,
your aunt.
my aunt.
May 19th.
Yes, shout out to her. I love her. That's my other cousin and Diamond's aunt.
Yes,
But
Yes.
I
So
would
yes,
like,
I,
I definitely want to thank you endlessly because I have a daughter that's 27
mhm,
and my daughters go all the way down to the baby's 15. So this to me is really big for somebody your age to get on here and talk about it and make people aware because it's your generation that is
yes.
hard headed. You're an exception.
yes,
So your generation really thinks that they are so invincible to so many things and they don't want to
yeah,
listen to
Hmm.
anything that their
Yes.
parents say. And I'm so grateful that you did listen to your mom and that your mom
Yes.
advocated for you. That is so major to me. And I'm so honored to have you on here because this is going
Thank
to
Yes.
you.
open up the eyes and attention of people in your generation. And this is what we do it for, the culture, to bring awareness to stuff like this for your
It's
generation.
so
So,
important.
because if it were just
Yeah.
me and Marilyn Monroe talking about it, you know how your generation would have heard it. Wah, 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 wah. It would have been like,
I
and,
think people don't expect it to be them. Like
mm-hmm,
it will
Yeah.
never be me. Like
Yeah.
it'll never be me. And I think
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing to put to swallow because I'm thinking like me? No. Like 12-year-old, like what is this talking about? Like I don't see another 12-year-old going through this. So why am I going through
Yeah.
this? So it's
Right.
just like
Yeah.
it's that
And not to
mindset.
be funny, like they'll be like, "That's the old people disease. Everything is the old people disease.
That
Only
and
old people
also
get it."
too, it also makes it
Um,
seem like makes it more real for people to
yes.
grasp onto it and be like, well, you went through that when you were 12. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going through it. And I want you to realize, don't pity me. So I don't really tell a lot of people. So some people are like, oh, you had it? I'm like, wait, I did. Like, I'd be like, so out of mind because it happened to me. It's not happening to me. And I think that's the
Right.
biggest thing people need to take away once they conquer something or they're not in that same situation is that happened to me. That's a part
Hmm.
of me, but that's not
That's
me.
not my story.
That's not my
Right. That's not
story.
my
Like
full story.
it doesn't end
Right.
there.
Right.
It doesn't end
It
there.
doesn't end there. That's right.
And
That's
and I
right.
think that's the biggest important takeaway from that. And also I feel like every generation will be like that once they're to a certain age, like in their 20s, of course. Psh, I don't
Yeah.
care. But then like it starts getting real probably when you're 26 when you're off your parents' life insurance. I mean health insurance. Because then that also
Yep.
plays a big part because health insurance is terrible in America right now.
It
Like
is.
I just had a
It
bill
is.
come in. Thank God I'm still on mine. But I'm like, a bill? I pay my copay. Why am I paying this? They had my name misspelled. But that would have been $500 that I did not
Yes.
have for a checkup
Yes.
because I wanted to go to a different doctor than my primary because they weren't doing what they needed to
Yeah.
do.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes you aback sometimes when you say
Mm.
like, "Oh yeah, talk about it," but if you don't have the resources or go figure it out, and you're caring so much how much something's going to cost, money does affect your health, and people need to start realizing that. I get that we have a state of the art, whatever, tools and stuff like that, but money affects so many people's health.
Yep.
Like I went in for the hospital, went into the emergency room because I was having bad chest pains in January, like on my anniversary that week, and I'm like, it's hurting really bad. That visit was $800. $50
Wow.
copay on my end, but $800. And
Wow.
they prescribed me ibuprofen.
Wow.
And you know how long I waited in the hospital? Over
Hours,
4 hours at Anne
I
Arundel
believe
Medical
it.
Center. They have the
which
worst wait
is
I
time.
believe it.
They have the worst wait
I
uh,
time
believe it.
in the state of Maryland.
yes,
I
Well,
indeed.
believe it.
in the whole country actually. Maryland has the
Really,
worst. Maryland's hospitals have the worst wait time.
I do
Wow.
actually believe that.
Yeah,
Wow. Having John Hopkins, one of the best.
right. And I think
Yeah.
Anne Arundel just messed up the stats totally bad. That's why. Because it's
Probably.
really bad. I've
Probably.
stayed there for like 6 hours trying to get seen. Like it's terrible there.
Jesus. Jesus.
Yeah, so it's money and health go hand in hand. If you're not on a good policy or your parents don't work a good job when you're a kid to go get everything looked at and checked out,
Yeah.
it's disheartening because more people will find out what's wrong with them and won't be subjected to their circumstances and more want to go to the doctors, more want to get help for their problem. More people probably want to go to therapy because oh, it's available. I can get the
Yeah.
help that I need. But they think of everything with a price tag on it, like somebody's gonna have to pay for this. And
Yep.
that's so scary.
Yes.
And the prices of things so scary. Like my brother, he got shot in 2022. That bill was $30,000.
Jeez. This is America.
literally, and people give birth every day.
And it's
That's
Yes.
cheaper than
seven.
that.
Nope, $70,000
Oh, see, look.
for a C-section.
Wow.
A scheduled C-section is like 70 up, and I'm like, this you can't even have the kid for
And
free. You can't even have the kid for free.
and I think this what you went through is making you pay more attention to the bills and what the
It
expenses
does
are.
because it's. I'm grateful I'm 23 and still on insurance, but I have like 3 more years and I'm off of that. I'm gonna cry, but it frightens because people are not knowledgeable. People are having kids prematurely without knowing the cost. Like, yeah, you say diapers and
Yes.
stuff, but medical costs.
We're gonna have her on
Yes.
another show because I got some I'm a
Yes.
grandmother with some kids that had some babies without thinking, but we'll talk about that later.
It's just I feel like it's so important to make sure you're squared away with yourself and your health
Mhm.
before
Mhm.
you reproduce.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes. I
That is
agree.
very important.
Because
I
it's just
agree.
like nowadays, back in the day,
Yeah.
it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But now
Back in my
everything,
day.
yeah, back in your day, like your
That's
mom was
because
telling
we
me,
had a village. Like right now, the villages aren't as strong as they used to
dwindling.
be.
I think about that all the
I'm a,
time.
I think I'm gonna become
Since
a
Grandma Vic passed
doula.
away.
Yeah, rest in peace, Grandma
Yeah,
Vic. She's
like
the greatest.
she was the glue, this gorilla glue, and it's
Yes.
just like after she passed, it's just never been the same. Like
Nope.
never been the same. But
Well, we're gonna wrap this up
yes,
before I start crying.
sorry,
I
I'm sorry.
know. I have held back so many tears and
I know,
swallowed so
same.
many lumps this episode.
Yes,
But
thank you
I
guys for
th-
Yes.
having me so
and you
much.
said
Thank
the
you so.
same. I appreciate you for holding it back and being so strong to be able to share your story. That was
Thank you.
really big.
I do
I think you
appreciate you
are such
guys.
an amazing young woman, and your mother is just as proud as you are of if she is of you, then you are of her, and you are just a great representation of a survivor, and
Thank
how
you.
positive you smile, you're positive, you definitely spread the awareness, and you're not afraid to tell your story. Some people go through, hell and back and will never speak about it, and this is how we know that you're just pushing through, and
Thank
you
you.
are amazing. I'm so proud that you are my cousin,
Yes.
and and I thank you so much. I love you, and
Love
you
you
have
guys.
entered the culture club, and you're about to exit the culture club.
Thank
So we will see
you.
you next time.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Miss Bless, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you.